Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm David Vogel, Judge Executive. We're happy to have you here today on the first day of September of 2020, and haven't looked out the window today, so I don't know what kind of day it is out there, but I hope it's a nice day and that everyone here is feeling well. We ask everyone, and I think everyone pretty much is, socially distanced here in our auditorium this afternoon. So if you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin our meeting today, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. It's with admiration for his service, but sadness with his passing. I'd like Oldham County to remember today Nate Burke. Nate Burke's story is one of courage and also one of subsequent tragedy. Nate was a 1998 graduate of Oldham County High School. His patriotism caused him to enlist in the Army National Guard as a junior in high school. His unit was activated, and in 2003, he was sent to Baghdad, Iraq, during the Iraqi War. When he was in Baghdad, he served as a bodyguard and a driver for General Colin Powell when he was in the war zone. Nate also was responsible for training Iraqi soldiers in military police tactics, and he did a great job and received many commendations from his commanding officer. And he's also credited with saving the lives of several people in Iraq. With medical challenges, Nate came out of the Army Reserve in 2004, came home to Oldham County. In 2005, he was seriously injured while he was riding an ATV on a farm. His ATV hit a rock and he was thrown over the top of it, landed on his head, and immediately fell into a coma. And for the past 15 years, he has been in a semi-conscious state. And he was unable to speak to anyone until Holy Thursday of this year, when he began speaking again. Certainly, God granted his parents their wish to hear the voice of their son again. And so after 15 years of silence, Nate began to speak in short sentences and was able to answer questions from his mother. Now, while not the perfect conversation that you and I engage in, his parents were nevertheless overjoyed with this gift from God, who likely knew, obviously, that Nate would soon be passing from this life into eternal life. Early last Saturday morning, Nate died unexpectedly at the nursing home where he was. His visitation is going to be next Tuesday, a week from today, at Stess Funeral Home in Crestwood, and there will be a funeral mass at Immaculate Conception on Thursday the 9th at 11 o'clock. And there will be a military honor guard in the county to escort him, or his body, to his final resting place. So I'm sure many of you have never heard the story of Nate Burke. It's one of courage and tragedy, and I'd like to take a moment now to have some silence in his memory and ask God for his salvation. Nate Burke was 40 years old. May he rest in peace. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Harrison.
Here.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Here.
Magistrate Dye.
Here.
Magistrate Logston.
Here.
Judge Vogel.
Here. Having all members of the fiscal court, this meeting is present. This meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
Second.
Are there any additions that anyone would like to make? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, now I'll ask Denise to please read the minutes from our last meeting, which was on August 18th.
August 18th, 2020, the Oldham County Fiscal Court convened at a regular meeting at 2 p.m. with Judge Executive David Vogel, County Attorney John Carter, and the following magistrates in attendance: Brent Likens, Wayne Tice, Albert Harrison, Steve Greenwell, Chris Hounds, Stephanie Hawkins, Bob Dye, and Michael Logston. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hawkins to approve the agenda as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting minutes from August 4th, 2020 were read and approved unanimously. Public comment. Director of Public Health Teresa Gamsky provided an update on COVID-19. Fire Chief Stephen Fanta presented information relating to the Ballardsville Fire Protection District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. Fire Chief Hewitt Brown presented information relating to the North Oldham Fire Protection District fiscal year 2021 budget and ad valorem tax rate. Chief Brown responded to questions from the court. Will Douglas, chairman of the Oldham County Stormwater Management District, presented information relating to the district's fiscal year 2021 budget and stormwater quality fees. Jim Silliman, county engineer, MS4 coordinator, presented information regarding the MS4 program and projects. Mr. Douglas and Mr. Silliman responded to questions from the court. The following sealed bids were opened and read aloud for the courtroom video recording system. Conference Technologies Incorporated, $153,670, 6 cents. Justice AV Solutions A, $86,600, 72 cents. Justice AV Solutions B, $97,978, 98 cents. Ring Central, $45,797. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to award the bid for the Eden Parkway Phase 1 and 2 and LaGrange Parkway median modifications to Louisville Paving in the amount of $2,740,000, and to authorize the Judge Executive to sign all contract documents with Louisville Paving as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Tice and seconded by Magistrate Likens to approve the Engineering Department, in conjunction with the Road Department, to pursue completion of the Buckner Soccer Fields Drainage Improvements Project using county employees and equipment, to include the approval to purchase necessary materials and equipment rentals required for the project, not to exceed $50,000 as approved by the Stormwater Board as submitted. Motion carried 8-1 on a roll call vote. Judge Vogel and the following magistrates voted yes: Likens, Tice, Greenwell, Hounds, Hawkins, Dye, and Logston. Magistrate Harrison voted no. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hawkins to take a short recess beginning at 4:01 p.m. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hawkins and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to resume the meeting at 4:16 p.m. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Tice to award the Goshen Hills Drainage Improvements Phase 1 project to Flynn Brothers Contracting, Incorporated, in the amount of $374,596, 12 cents, and to authorize the issue of the notice to proceed as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Logston and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to approve the payables as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Hounds and seconded by Magistrate Dye to declare surplus property from the Sheriff's Office, the Road Department, the Recycling Center, and the Police Department with the intention to sell at public auction on Saturday, August 15, 2020, as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Environmental Recycling and Utilities Committee. Motion made by Magistrate Hawkins and seconded by Magistrate Logston to authorize the Judge Executive to apply for and accept the 2021 litter abatement grant if awarded to Oldham County as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Road Committee. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Likens to establish a committee made of 2 appointed viewers who have no vested interest in the discontinuance of Tingle Lane and who, together with the county engineer, shall view the road and report in writing to the fiscal court what inconvenience would result from the closure, thus commencing the process of closing Tingle Lane in accordance with KRS 178.070 as submitted. Motion carried 8-0-1 with Magistrate Harrison abstaining. Contracts, resolutions. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Logston to authorize the judge executive to sign the revised consent and release form for the Goshen Hills Drainage Improvements Phase 1 project as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Personnel actions, planning and development services. Motion made by Magistrate Logston and seconded by Magistrate Dye to hire John Booth as electrical inspector at $25 an hour effective 9/7/2020 as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Likens and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to hire Christopher Clark as Code Enforcement Officer at $16.90 an hour effective 8/24/2020 as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Road Department. Motion made by Magistrate Greenwell and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to hire Patrick Martin as Equipment Operator 1 at $13.50 an hour, effective 8/24/2020, as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Tice to terminate Wesley Williams, effective 8/14/2020, as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to accept the reappointment of Joan Bryant to the Ambulance Taxing District Board as submitted. Motion carried unanimously. Public comment. Ralph Matheson, President of the Goshen Hills Homeowners Association, addressed the court and thanked everyone for the hard work and diligence on the Goshen Hills Drainage Improvements Project. Jerry Nart, Emergency Management Director, spoke to judges' points about the various departments working together so well. Also, Mr. Nart announced the Gold Star Families Memorial Monument dedication to be held at Veterans Memorial Park on Saturday, August 22nd at 11 a.m. Magistrate Harrison reminded everyone to complete the U.S. Census Survey. Motion made by Magistrate Dye and seconded by Magistrate Hounds to adjourn the meeting. Motion carried unanimously. The meeting adjourned at 4:55 p.m.
You've heard the minutes from our August 18th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Time now for public comment, the time during our meeting when anyone who would like to address the fiscal court is able to do so. You'll have up to 4 minutes, and if you come up to speak today on any basis, we ask you to stand behind the glass there and leave your mask off, so we have protection.
Sir, I'm so afraid. I hope I don't have a heart attack. I'm so afraid. Thank you very much that I could speak with you. My name is Janet Bowman. I live in LaGrange, Kentucky. I'm a certified Kentucky school teacher. I've been a substitute teacher at the Oldham County Public Schools for the past year and a half. I graduated from Western Kentucky University many years ago when I was 18 years old. I became a Kentucky Certified School Teacher when I was a teenager. So I've been a Kentucky Certified School Teacher for over 50 years. I'm a senior citizen. And I want you to know also, I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God, Father Almighty in heaven. I'm baptized Roman Catholic. God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. My religion teaches me to fight for myself. I'm here to speak with you today about abuse of older person, me, is a major community issue. It is. I was abused here. I was here only a few days. I was abused here in an Oldham County Public School by 2 adult employees. It was horrible. I won't go into the details. Recently, I have been physically abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused by 3 Kentucky medical doctors in this area and a medical assistant. It left me in such a horrible condition that no other medical doctor would help me, how they cover up for each other. And I had to travel to another state to find an intelligent medical doctor with integrity who would help me. An abuser towards an older person is deliberate behavior. Their abuse is deliberate and it's intentional. To do physical, emotional, and mental harm, to do damage and loss of employment and assets towards an older person, me. The abusers can be men, women of any age, but the people who are abusing me are younger people. I do not have them in a court of law. I pray to God constantly, and I pray to God, Father Almighty in heaven, Jesus Christ, that these abusers who are younger than me, they should not be allowed to live my age. And if they are married people, then their marriages need to be in divorce court, because obviously their marriages are criminal arrangements, or they would not be doing this type of abuse. But it's a very serious problem, and they know that they can abuse me, and they know they are killing me. And they're killing me. I'm a senior citizen, and they're slowly and gradually killing me, and they know it, and it's deliberate. And they are not to be allowed to live to be my age. Their medical doctor license is a danger to the community. Their marriages are a danger to the community. Thank you for letting me speak with you.
All right, thank you for coming, and I suggest if you have issues with others that you seek out the Kentucky Medical Society to file complaints, or perhaps you need to get an attorney to help you sort out these issues with employers. So,
Thank you. I wanted you to be aware that it's going on in this community.
all right, thank you for coming.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me this time. Members of the Fiscal Court. I'm Becky Zockline, and I'm here to announce that the Household Hazardous Waste Collection event will take place at Oldham County Fairgrounds on October 3rd, first Saturday in October, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will be drive-through, and people will not be getting out of their vehicles. I'm also announcing National Cleanup Day, which is September 19th. And as a way of celebrating this, I'm inviting all Oldham Countyans to tailor or design their own method of cleaning up. And it could be as simple as cleaning up your own front yard or your backyard, or it's even suggested by the World Cleanup Day people to clean out your phone and do a digital cleanup. Pretty simple, but the main idea is that people have fun and that we make an impact somehow on the environment. And thirdly, I wish to reassure everyone that our triannual, I guess, tire collection event will take place this year, probably in the last quarter of this year. We don't have the dates yet. Those dates are set by the state. And that will take place at the State Road Garage on 393. And finally, the recycling center is open. Just want to drive that point home. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Becky. So anyone else who would like to address the fiscal court during the open comment session here? Seeing no one, I'll close public comment and go on to the first item on today's agenda, and that is a update on the COVID-19 issue from our Oldham County Health Director, Teresa Gamsky, and she also, I believe, has the Health Department tax rate resolution that she would like signed.
Good afternoon, Fiscal Court. Thank you so much for your service to our community. I do have the completed Oldham County Board of Health resolution signed by each of our Board of Health members and completed within the Department of Public Health for your completion of the public health tax resolution that is required for public health. I'll have that, Denise.
Right, there's not a vote on this because there's no change in the rate.
Denise, can I use the screen here? Thank you. Wanted to give you a quick update today, based on our data and our cases, but also give you some perspective on what's happening at the state and federal level as well. But as of today, September 1st, Oldham County does have 922 cases, 851 are confirmed, and then 71 cases are probable. What those probable cases mean is that they are in a household with a confirmed case, and they become ill during that 14-day quarantine. They're showing clinical signs of the disease. So at this time, we have 298 cases that we are aware of in Oldham County, and 624 have resolved. Sadly, we have lost 24 Oldham County residents due to COVID-19. 59 have ever been hospitalized, and currently we have 4 people in hospitalizations, 1 in corrections and 3 in community. What I would like to bring to your attention today is yesterday the Department of Public Health issued their federal report in which they're obligated to report Kentucky's situation. And in light of the upcoming Labor Day weekend, I want to encourage all residents to use precaution if they're attending events with people outside of their household. Please, if you're having those events, they are much safer when they are outdoors. And if you are around people outside of your household, it is recommended that you do mask, practice good hand washing, of course, and social distancing. But what this report is saying is almost half of Kentucky counties are in the federal report's danger zone. This is reflected in the state's slowly rising daily case counts. Metro areas like Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green, Murray, Campbellsville are seeing increased cases due, of course, colleges and universities returning, and just more general movement in our community for sports and, again, social gatherings. We're seeing students return to Oldham County from these colleges, and what we are advising these students is once these students have returned home, they should isolate to an individual bedroom and bathroom if they're symptomatic. If the student returns home and then becomes symptomatic during this incubation period, then the household has been exposed. So for the most part, when students return, if they're symptomatic, they can come home, they go to isolate, they have their own bedroom and bathroom access. Food is brought to them with the family members masking. If the students have been in the house and then develop symptoms, then that family has also been exposed. Although our positivity rate is lowering, I think today or yesterday it was 4.4%, the incident rate of new illness is increasing. And so the difference between positivity and incident rate, positivity is based on the number of tests completed and how many out of those tests are positive. Incidence is the number of new cases for a specific period over the average number of persons exposed to risk, and sometimes that's figured on cases per 10,000 of a population or 100,000 in a population. But as you can see on the federal report, Oldham County is listed there as one of the 45 counties that is seeing a higher incidence. We also have seen some changes in daycare guidance due to the shortage of available daycare. The state has increased the numbers of classrooms from 10 children to 15. And they're also encouraging capacity to accelerate certifications and licensures to in-care homes, as well as an incentive of $2,500 to get licensed if people are caring for their children at home. Although the death rate is lowered, I think today I looked, it was a little bit, about 1.8%, below 2%, which is excellent. But most of our fatalities are coming through residents in long-term care facilities. There's also been quite a bit of question about the recent CDC data that talked about that 6% of people did not have any comorbidities or pre-existing conditions with COVID. They've talked about how deaths are reported and calculated. And so what that means in Kentucky, due to our unhealthy population, is that in Kentucky, 35% of us are obese, 1 in 7 have diabetes, 1 in 9 are pre-diabetic or may not know that they are pre-diabetic because they haven't had an annual physical. Of course, we have heart disease, cancer treatments, and lung issues to follow that as well. So what they're saying is only 6% of the population did not have underlying health conditions. Otherwise, on those death certificates, especially in Kentucky, not only was COVID a factor in their death, but those pre-existing conditions. Of the 59 counties listed in the red zone, what that means in actual numbers is that new cases of the virus within one per 1,000 residents, and also includes a positivity rate of over 10%. So that's the red zone of those communities there. The category that Oldham is in the yellow zone, and that is 0.1 to 1 case per 1,000 people, and a positivity rate between 5 and 10%. As a state, we have been running at that 5%, between 5 and 6, and of course we're back down with that today. But with the incident rate rising, we're very concerned as we again approach this Labor Day weekend. The timing of this holiday could not be more problematic as we look to get back into in-person classes in school. We're very concerned that the timing of that holiday in light of the 2-week quarantine, that we would be coming back to school in the midst of an increase if we aren't monitoring our activity this next weekend. So please be conscious of that if you do have activities with folks outside your household. Also, last thing I have, Judge, is the health department is hosting an influenza vaccine drive-through clinic on September 16th. This is a high dose only, so this is for people 65 and older. That is a specialized vaccine for those older people who have declining, what's the word I'm thinking of? Yes, that's it. So you want, if you're interested in high dose, you're over 65, call us for an appointment, and you can just drive through just like we're doing testing as well. So give us a call for that. And then we'll also be planning additional influenza vaccine clinics the same way, and we'll be sure and get that information to you. And Judge, that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions here? Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you. Teresa, on the slide there, or the thing that you got up there on the overhead right now, underneath the yellow down there, it lists Evansville. Why is that in there with all the Kentucky cities and everything?
That's a good question. Unless they're, we've had some real high incident rates in Western Kentucky, and I think they're looking as that as a region. But definitely Western Kentucky and along our southern border with Tennessee, we have some counties in a critical stage in those areas.
Thank you.
Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. Teresa, is there any update on the state fair the county fair situation? Any more response?
Not that I'm aware of. You know, a lot of that discovery is also dependent on people willing to give us that information and how the contact tracers ask for that information. So we are training them to be a little bit more detailed. In other words, if they say they went to church on Sunday, we'd like to know what church that was. You know, so we're getting better at this. And as we move to an electronic system, we're able to see that connectivity of this person went to this event, and then we see another person, and the electronics will automatically connect those events so we can see clusters. Absolutely,
But you still just have one positive out of the county fair?
as far as we know.
As far as you know? Yeah.
Yeah, there could have been other cases related, but that did not report to us.
All right. Thank you.
Sir.
Mr. Likens.
Yes, any hope for a vaccine anytime soon? You probably keep up with that better than most.
I understand this week there are 2 vaccines that are in phase 3 trials. They're possibly looking at emergency certification, but I know most people want to see the vaccine tested within normal types of protocols. So we are seeing 2 vaccines that are very close to, one is in the process of phase 3 testing where they're using it on humans. The other is just started phase 3. The state is not, their best advice is they're not expecting any kind of vaccine by the end of the year. They think it'll be in the first part of 2021.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right, Teresa, thank you very much. About this, I won't say it's this time, sometime during the course of the year, we always get an announcement from the University of Wisconsin in cooperation with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation that Oldham County is the healthiest county in Kentucky. I think I don't know, we'll have to,
I don't know if they figured
you know,
COVID into that
COVID
right now.
probably be out of the thing, you know, but just it seems ironic to me. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I was in town last night at the shopping center, and it was wasn't exactly a ghost town, but we need to get this thing.
Yes.
I hope somebody can get this thing straightened out because it's
Under control.
killing the economy.
Yes, last week we were hoping we were going to see a declining week in testing, and then by the time we hit Sunday, last week was one of the highest weeks we've had, you know, in a while. So it's out there. Be cautious. Latest data I've read is 10% of people with COVID are hospitalized.
Mr. Logson.
If you know anything about this, but, you know, at one time they thought herd saturation point was going to be around 60 to 80, and now here it's maybe going to be 20%. Have you heard anything about that?
Saturation point as far as?
As far as 20%, it would start dying out. At first, they thought it was going to be 60 to 80% in order to get herd immunity, and now I've heard from the CDC, I think that's right, where I read it was going to be somewhere around 20% maybe.
Well, what we're hearing, if we allowed it just to go unchecked, we would have millions of more deaths with the herd immunity type of structure.
Some good news that maybe it's not going to have to get to 60, 80, but maybe 20% is going to take care of it. I don't
Right.
know.
You know, our hope was that we would see it decline in the summer months like we normally see. Normal other cold coronaviruses and flu, we see that die out during the summer months, and of course it comes back in the winter months when we're more confined. And what is concerning is we are absolutely not seeing a decline of this virus. It's not behaving like a typical virus would. Very concerning.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda today is presentation from the LaGrange Fire Department. And we have J.D. Tice here with us, and Chief Sitzler is going to come over, I think, to the podium. And then we also have Amy Alvey here, who is the chairman of our LaGrange Fire Department Board. chief has had surgery, and you're making it, but
I can tell you, don't get old.
it's no fun. Yeah, I understand. Knee replacement or hip replacement, these things are miserable. I guess the first thing we have to ask you, though, is to see a LaGrange fire truck was involved. Somebody struck a truck in Westport,
I
is
was
that
waiting for
correct?
that.
Pardon?
Actually, I figured Mr. Hounds would be asking that question.
Really?
You can, step close to the microphone.
Come on right in
I
there.
can do that. Last night at training, one of our engines, 4534, was proceeding on the long side of 524 going to Westport. A car coming in the opposite direction forced the truck off the right-hand side of the road. To my knowledge, there was no contact, but I haven't got an official report yet from the driver of the engine. On the right-hand side, 524, anybody's gone down there, it's pretty bad. If they had gone down the embankment, the truck would have obviously flipped. We'd have been in the trees, we'd have had to cut them out. But only the right-hand side wheels got off. The driver was able to shoot it across the road. Actually, part of the road did buckle, and he went off the left side of the road, which was a small embankment, and that's where the truck landed. The truck is totally out of service. I hate to throw a figure out, but right now it looks like it's going to be at least $200,000 to fix it. It'll have to go up to Pierce made it up in Appleton, Wisconsin, so it'll definitely have to go up to Pierce to get refurbed. Nobody was seriously hurt. All 5 members on the truck went to the hospital to be checked out. And that's a testimony to wearing seat belts.
Yeah.
All five members had their seat belts on, and but the one of the young guys was riding officer last night, and he said, "Boy, that was one hell of a ride."
Yeah. Sure.
So
Unexpected and dangerous, you know. Glad that no one was hurt.
nobody was seriously hurt. If they'd have gone down the embankment, yes, who knows what would have happened. Theoretically, that part of 524 probably needs a guardrail, but I think that's a state highway, and Judge.
Yes. Right.
So, but, you know, those things
We're
happen.
always asking for guardrails, and we can't get enough of them. I mean, there's lots of places in Oldham County that need a guardrail.
It took Burroughs last night probably a couple hours to get the truck out. It was embedded
Yeah.
so deep in the ravine and everything. So, those things happen.
Right. Well, I'm glad everyone was all right. And
Oh, the funny thing about it, it's not funny, but while we were at the scene, somebody got on their cell phone and the Oldham Era already had it on their webpage.
yeah, no, that's where I
We're
picked it
still on the scene. We're trying to get the truck out. And Oldham Era already had it on their face page. Unbelievable.
up. Word gets around fast when
Yes,
it's
it does.
makes something unfortunate. Right. Okay, well, we'll go on with the presentation here today.
Sure.
And appreciate you taking mask off unless you feel
No, that's fine.
very uncomfortable. We're socially distanced, and I think we appreciate having everybody be seen, okay?
Good afternoon, Judge Vogel, magistrates. My name's J.D. Tice. I'm the attorney for LaGrange Fire Protection District. As you all know, Jim Sitzler's here with me. He's the chief, and then Amy Alves, our chairwoman. This is our annual tax rate presentation. The tax rate that the LaGrange Fire Department intends to levy this year is a 10-cent per $100 of assessed value for real estate, motor vehicles, watercraft, and in-transit inventory. This is the same tax we've levied for more than 10 years now. We anticipate that that tax will create $1,744,400 in expected revenue. I've tendered to the fiscal court our budget for the 2020-21 fiscal year. Obviously, our biggest payroll item is personnel. In general, the The remainder of the budget goes towards general operating expenses, and then things like equipment, maintenance, and repairs, which apparently we're going to have a lot more of this year. So in terms of runs, for 2019, the LaGrange Fire Department again set a new record for runs, 969 in the calendar year 2019. That's the 5th out of the past 6 years that we've set a new record for runs, and we're currently on pace again to pass that record for 2020. We're currently on pace for 996 runs through the end of July. With that being said, I'll open, I guess, the floor to if anybody has questions, me or Chief Sitzler, regarding the LaGrange Fire Department.
Anybody have any questions here? I noticed it says here under debt service, you have loan interest to other governments. Are you borrowing money from other governments?
I think
agencies?
that's part of how we funded the new construction at Station 1 was originally Build America bonds, so it's interest on the bonds that went to finance the construction of Station 1, which was since refinanced. So I believe when it says intergovernmental, well, were you looking at the Government Leasing Act, or no? That
Down
should be-
there in
that's what
line
it is.
100 and, well, 13 C and D.
It should be
That's,
Station
yeah,
1.
that's the state, the bonds on station, the interest on the bonds that were refinanced for the
And
construction of
it
Station
says loan interest, other governments. That's why I was kind of, confused about that, I guess.
We're technically, it's not a foreign government, it would be the federal government.
No Chinese money in
No,
there?
we're not like, yeah. No Russian investment in the LaGrange Fire Department.
Okay, and I know you're gonna have, do you have a alternative plan while that engine's getting fixed? Or do you have enough equipment to get by?
Yeah, we'll be all right, as long as nothing else breaks down.
Right. Well, I didn't know if there's a place you go out and lease a fire truck for 4 months or whatever.
You can do that. I mean, worst case scenarios, you can get loaner trucks. Hoping we don't have to do that.
That truck, I guess it will drive?
What's that?
Will that truck drive?
Yeah.
Or
but
do you have to
it's-
put it on a
it's-
flatbed to take it to
it's all-
Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's not, we drove it to Station 2 to take the equipment off of it, but it's not really drivable. They take it up to Wisconsin, they'll put it on a lowboy, I hope, and take it up there. What I'm scared of is there's just so much, adjusters coming out tomorrow, there's just so much they can actually see without lifting the truck up and seeing underneath. So, we don't know what kind of damage is underneath. But you look at the body, the left side doesn't look too bad. You walk around to the right side, and you can tell the body's twisted, and the subframe that holds the body is messed up. The front bumper and the front suction's been pushed in, so who knows?
Looks like you might have to bump your insurance about $10,000 in the budget next year. Insurance companies won't get their money back as quick as they can.
Think so?
Okay, if there are no other questions, Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. Just an observation, this is the second truck accident we've had on that section of 524 in the last 3 months. County truck and now a fire truck. What does it take to get the
The
attention?
county truck, I don't think was in the same location.
No, but it was on 524, and you got the same conditions along 524 where the edge of the road has become the waterway. And when we get a storm event, it's running between the asphalt and the edge of the shoulder. It's not getting off the road the way it's supposed to. It stays next to the asphalt, and that's what's creating these drop-offs.
Well, our accident was right past the curve. There's a lot of curves on 524, but about a mile from 42, there's a pretty good curve, and that's where it occurred. So,
But we need help with maintenance, that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had anybody injured yet, and I hope it doesn't take that.
Right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, thanks, fellas, appreciate it.
all right.
All right, the next presentation is from the South Oldham Fire Department. Chief Eddie Turner is here. Welcome, Chief.
Good afternoon, members of Fiscal Court. Of course, I'm here today to give a report. Would first say that things are going well at South Oldham, despite with the COVID virus going on this year. Nobody's been sick at South Oldham. I had one member that went to Florida during that, and when he came back, I said, "You're going to have to lay low for 14 days," and he got tested, and everything was okay with him. Also want to mention that I'm proud of the South Oldham, the entire fire service in Oldham County. It seems like everybody's working well together. We have some of us that come together to purchase some specialized equipment. And then also right now we're working on a federal grant to purchase some SCBA's breathing apparatus. The department has come together to improve the training center down in Buckner, and that task force is working well together, and it seems like everything is going pretty good. Our estimated budget this year was a little bit more than 1.9 million, and that was based on a rate at 9 cents, but since then we're going to bump that up to 0.92, which would give us a little bit more money. That has a public hearing come up at the end of the month. The vehicle tax rate will stay the same at 10 cents. This money will be turned over to court, to the corporation, South Oldham Fire Department Corporation, for operating payroll, equipment, and so forth. Payroll and the retirement system takes up quite a bit of money, and the rest will go to the operation of the department. So, does somebody got any questions, or?
Any questions to the magistrates here regarding South Oldham? I know you have how many full-time people?
14 now. I lost one, and then I'm losing another one, getting ready to hire a firefighter. So, and I got 20 volunteers.
So you are planning on a rate increase of 0.2%, is that
Yes, sir.
right?
Mhm. Yeah.
To take effect January, or when, do you know?
I guess when the tax roll comes out, they get it there in time. I don't know.
I think you'd already have to have it posted, wouldn't
That's
you?
what I.
By now?
That's what I thought too, but.
Did you say you had to have the tax? No, I'm talking to the lady behind you there, okay. A tax increase, you'd have to have that to the county clerk prior to this date, wouldn't you, to have a tax increase on the? No, the calendar's been moved. Oh, okay. Got a little more time. I didn't ask how much, but you'll have to figure that out yourself, I guess. I don't know, all right. Anybody have a question? All right, thank you, Chief, appreciate it. Oops.
Stephanie did.
Stephanie, sorry.
I was just interested if you knew the dates yet for the public. You were going to have a public forum regarding this?
It's a public hearing last September 28th.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'll be on Zoom or at the firehouse here, which one we're going, so we don't know that yet, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next presentation is from the Public Library System. I believe Jessica Powell, Library Director, and David Hutchinson, Treasurer, are here today. Welcome to Fiscal Court.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you. It is especially nice to see new humans that are not the same humans that I see all the time. So it's very good to see your smiling faces in person. Included in your packet, there's a presentation of our tax rates. The board did vote to keep the rates flat this year. There is no change from last year. That is lower than the suggested compensating rate. And our budget is included at the back. That is also the same as we had last year. Some exciting changes in 2020, because we've had so many. We've basically had to reinvent how we library. You cannot have tons of kids in your children's area playing with toys and doing all sorts of fun things right on top of each other during the environment that we're in. So our staff has just been absolutely phenomenal in rethinking how we provide library services to the community. There's a little narrative here, but just a few highlights. Our programmers have learned how to use Zoom and become professional online presenters overnight. That is not a skill set any of us had back in March, but it's one that we are all getting very, very good at. We mailed out over 4,000 summer reading activity booklets to various homes in the community that had children. Those are included in the back of your binders if you'd like to see an example. We threw those together, the staff did. They turned out beautifully. They created every single one of those pages, and we had such amazing feedback from the community and families that were looking to keep their kids entertained over the summer. We've also started a new program to mail out activity crates to teens. Some of you might be familiar with subscription boxes. You can get them with makeup or clothes or things like that. Well, we started doing it with geek items for our teenagers. They also cannot come to the library in person, and so we're using up some of our leftover craft supplies and swag that we've had from various parties and things to physically send them boxes in the postal service so that they will have items arrive on their doorstep, things that they can use to interact with the library online, but also a lot of journaling materials so that they can process mentally what is going on in our world right now. This is very overwhelming for them too. I think sometimes they get lost in the shuffle. We think about our littles a lot and we forget that our teens are really struggling with this as well. Some highlights: our digital materials usage is up over 30% last summer. Everybody's doing their Kindles now and downloading books online, which is wonderful. We've processed over 50% more reserved materials so that people can do curbside and drive-through over what we were doing last year, so that's been great. And the thing I'm most excited about is overnight we have pivoted to become support services for all the families in our community that are now learning at home, whether that's on NTI or they've chosen VLA or suddenly they've just thrown their hands in the air and they're just going to homeschool it themselves. There are a lot of families like that. So we have a designated staff person now that is our homeschool liaison that they can contact at the library that will work with them to provide the core materials that are part of the Kentucky core curriculum. We've bought a ton of books to flesh that out because we know 20 families are all going to need the same copy of the same book if they're doing a unit on the ocean or something like that. We've also purchased 2 new digital databases to add to the collection, and one of them is called BrainFuse. It's a live tutoring service so that if you don't know how to teach your kid AP Calculus when they are home at night, they can log on to BrainFuse and there are live tutors there that can support them. We see this as being really important for VLA because those students will not have assigned teachers for some of those classrooms. And also the Teachables database. For the families that are doing homeschool, Teachables is a product from Scholastic put together by teachers all over the country that has worksheets, all your math worksheets, your multiplications, your packets, the things that you would normally have in an elementary school classroom. It's a free downloadable resource with high quality materials that will be free for family members in the community to use. And teachers can take advantage of it as well inside the school system. That's just some of the stuff we've had to learn how to do overnight in 5 months.
All right. Right. Does anybody have any questions here that they'd like to ask? Manager Likens?
I have one. I'm not an accountant by any means, but what is debt service?
We took bonds out many years ago to build what is now our main library, and debt service is the interest payments on those bonds.
Okay, at what interest rate are those bonds?
We refinance them. I think the current effective rate is somewhere below 3%, as I recall.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
3%, and then you've got quite a large carryover, and I know right now my money in the bank draws 0.00000 interest.
You are correct, and I think I know where you're going with that. Our budget shows $12,000 in interest. The budget, of course, we were working on it in April and May at our meetings, and at that point in time, there still seemed to be some chance. Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve, in effect, if we were meeting tonight, I would say that take that $12,000 and probably put it down to $2,500, $3,000. We did not make an emergency meeting for it because in relation to our total budget, the $12,000 figure is not a significant risk to any of our programs if it doesn't materialize. But, you know, I would love to have thought, and in April, we took it down from, last year we had over $30,000 in interest income, but last year you could get 2%. At this point, if you get 50/100ths of a basis point, you're doing very, very well. And,
Exactly.
As for the size of the number itself, if you have questions, a portion of that is 6 months of our operating reserves to carry us over till when our tax checks come at the end of November. So this report is based on the June 30th number, but a lot of that is actually earmarked for January or July, August, September, October, so that will be spent down as we go. We also need 2 new facilities. Both our facility in Crestwood and in Goshen are very undersized for the use that they get. They don't have meeting rooms, there's nowhere private study areas. Families that want to hire a tutor, we just don't have the space for it. And so we have been saving to eventually get new facilities for those communities as well.
It just doesn't make much sense to me to have money in a reserve account and at 0 interest and pay interest off debt. It would seem like I would pay my debt off, but that's my only comment.
Some of those are, you know, I guess the only way we could do it would literally be going to the market to buy back the bonds. And at this point, those bonds would probably not save us any money in the act of trying to buy them back.
Thank you.
One other little item I might add, and this is on behalf of myself and my fellow directors, and I'm surprised that Jessica didn't bring it up, but you know we have what I would call a symbiotic relationship with the Board of Education. And one of the most wonderful things that impressed all of myself and my fellow directors at our last Zoom meeting was the buttons.
Oh,
Would
yes.
you like to tell them about the buttons, Jessica?
Just a quick little thing that we did. The smaller children have a really hard time with object permanence and learning people's faces. And now that all their teachers are wearing masks, it's even more difficult for them to make that sort of bond of safety and things. And so the library created buttons, giant buttons, with every teacher's face on it for the kids at Crestwood Elementary and Goshen Elementary, so that when the kids see them and interact with them, they can see their smiling face as well. And it went over really, really well at all of their back-to-school open house and virtual open house activities. And everybody really loved it a lot more than we thought we would, but those buttons made a big difference in families' lives, and people thanked us a lot for it. So.
Well, that's a
Made a
cool
big impression
idea.
on all the directors, I can tell you that.
The teachers wear the button?
They do when they do their Zoom classes and things like that, so that the kids can put a face with a mask. So.
Did you make those, or are you able to?
We have a button maker. If you all would like some, I would love to make them for you too
I
when you
was
meet your
saying, there might be
constituents.
more than teachers that need buttons too.
Yeah.
That's a really cool idea. Just going to ask you here about under one of your expense line items here, uniforms. Do people at the library wear uniforms? We got $5,600 down here for uniforms.
Which one?
Under excuse me, I'm looking at the Westport Fire Department. I'm sorry.
We don't. I have
know,
a little name tag. We
I
all wear,
opened this
so.
up and thought
They do
this
wear
second page went with you, but that's not, you don't have any uniforms, all right. That's fine. Pardon? Well, yeah, right. I guess so. I didn't look at the top of the sheet here. I just looked over. I thought it was a breakdown on expenses, so. All right, anybody else have anything?
On behalf of my fellow
Right.
directors, thank you for
Thank
your
you all for
continued
being
support
here.
as
All
the
right, all right.
magistrates.
All right, thank you all. Next item is Westport Fire Department. Chief Dave Pendleton is here. And I probably really don't have to ask you about uniforms. And,
No, sir, but it's a good observation.
I understand you need them.
Thank you, Court. I'm David Pendleton. Officially, July 1, I did retire as Assistant Chief. Stepped down, let the other younger guys take over the helm. However, I'm still in a support role with the department, handling some of the books. Now it's no longer really a conflict of interest or anything like that, so I'm trying to help out as much as I can still in the community. The budget is proposed and passed. The rates are staying the same, tax rate of 10 cents. We try to use every little penny we can at Westport. Again, $5,600 is a little high for the uniforms, but we never know when something's going to change or everybody wants to get new shirts at one time or something. So you can see last year we were 94,000. We got a 1.1 increase on our tax or on our revenue to 95,512. And we've been the same tax rate, I believe, for 20 years that I've been down there. So we're trying to use every penny we can as cautiously as possible.
Right.
We're under $100,000 in revenue, so we're governed under the state fire commission, does our audits. So we've actually done pretty good with that. There's no problems or anything found. And we're averaging anywhere from 65 to 75 runs a year. Just depends on the season. We get boat runs on the river or, field fires. A lot of folks in Westport, they kind of maintain their own. We don't have a lot of bells and smells, sophisticated systems and things like that that got us running after false runs. Unfortunately for Westport, if we have a fire, we have a fire. Or a rescue, we have a rescue. So we've had our number of problems down there.
All right, good. I know you guys get the most out of every dollar in your.
Yes, sir, we try. There's a few folks in our community who help us out with donations, and we use that in our Fireman's Fund, which pays for our flowers for deceased folks, and just every once in a while we buy a new shirt or something. So,
Anybody have any questions here? It looks like your revenue is like 95,000 this year.
Yes, sir.
95.5. Okay, that's
Judge, I have one.
Magistrate Harrison.
David, are you the last truly volunteer fire department we've got?
no, sir. There's 2 departments in Oldham County that are full volunteer. It's Westport and Pewee Valley.
Okay.
No, I haven't. Yeah. Yes, sir. Everybody's volunteer. That's why I'm here today, is because everybody else has got full-time jobs and they would have had to take a vacation day or something like that. So I stepped up to volunteer to come back to fiscal court.
My compliments and gratitude to the volunteers. Now, that's special.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it, and best of luck.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda today, we have some bid openings now. Melissa Horn will bring forward, and the first one is for dump truck. Okay, first bid here is from KTS Truck Sales. It's Kentucky Truck Sales, I guess. Well, where's the bid here? Melissa, you want to see if you can find it? For some reason, it's escaping me. What is it? Is it $130,249? The second bid here is from Sternberg International. $134,985. This bid is Ewell Truck Sales of Kentuckiana, $135,393.04. Final bid is from Wausau Equipment, New Berlin, Wisconsin, $154,675. Thank you. The next item here is for our road paving work. variety of different projects. Hall contracting. This would be,
Group one.
we have two bids on here.
Yes, he did it that way.
Alternate 1 and 2.
You can read both numbers.
Both numbers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First one is $1,201,810.11. You got it? What's that? $1,201,810.11. And then the alternate, that's 1, and the alternate 2 here is $1,374,161.08. $1,374,161.08. Now we have Libs Paving of Floyd Knob here. Alternate number 1, $999,580.10. That's $99,580.10. Bid number 2 is $1,120,720.82. Everybody get that?
Okay.
This is Louisville Paving. Bid number 1, $964,841. Bid number 2, $1,127,702.51. Mack Construction. Number 1 bid, $1,098,603.74. Bid number 2 is $1,365,739.56. This bid from Riverside Paving, no bid.
No bid.
Says no bid. Wingham Paving. Number 1, $1,020,224.90. Number 2, $1,241,989.68. All right. All right, Group 2 now. That was county. Now this has to do with Pee Wee Valley. Hall contracting, $54,989.87. Libs Paving, $39,746.46. Louisville Paving, $40,078.62. Mac Construction, $49,861.85. Riverside Paving, $43,283.02. Wingham Paving, $44,471.03.
Judge, would you give me the first one again, Hall?
Yes, sir. Somebody repeat that, it's the bottom of my stack out here.
54 what?
54,980, 89, 87.
I got it, Judge, thank you.
Okay. Yes. All right, the third series of paving bids has to do with the city of LaGrange. E and B Paving, Clarksville, Indiana, $232,795.08. Hall Contracting, $198,488.71. Libs Paving, $170,700.81. Louisville Paving, $167,220.83. Mac Construction, $168,545.30. Riverside Paving, $186,984. Final bid, Wingham Paving, $175,297.50. Pretty much in order, I believe. We thank everyone who's participated in our bidding process here. We appreciate all vendors and are thankful for their interest in our business. Now we have a bid award for the courtroom video recording system here for this room. Do we? I won't, not all of them. Conference Technologies, $153,670.06. Justice AV Solutions, $86,600.72. Ring Central, $45,797. Justice AV Solutions, second bid, $97,098, $97,978.98.
Judge,
Ma'am?
is this on our agenda?
It's on mine. I don't know. Is it on the agenda sent out? You see it under Road Paving 4, Group 4 there?
Like in the big letters, at least mine was.
What? Okay, all right.
Judge?
Yeah, turn
We
your
offered these
microphone on.
previously and that
These
they
are the
were-
amounts, what was what would give me the first amount on conference technologies, 153?
67006.
Right.
Yeah, that was on it's on our minutes from last week.
Well, it was rebid. The specs weren't all met. And,
Oh, well, okay, well, there's nothing there's no there's no bid sheet like we normally get. So, okay, well, would you mind repeating those so we would?
Okay.
We're not?
Supposed to award.
Yeah, they've already been open.
Right. So we're just,
Correct, the amounts are in your minutes that she just read at the beginning of the meeting.
oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Says bid award on there.
Yeah, you're right, you're fine. I'm trying to,
Okay. Straighten them out?
yeah,
All right, so we are awarding this today?
you are. I hope you are.
Okay, I hope so too. All right. All right, we had these bids then. These were bids that were opened at the last meeting, and I'm gonna award them today. Is there a motion we award this video recording system to Ring Central for $45,797?
I'll second that.
I'll make a motion.
I thought you made the motion.
Well, I was looking for a motion, but Steve made it.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
you seconded it. All right. Any discussion on this? Magistrate Tice.
I assume that all the services are comparable because there's such a wide spread of them. And are we familiar with Ring Central, and are you?
As much as we can be.
And you're comfortable with that, because I assume that you've done most of this work for us? Thank you very much.
Okay. Any further questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Okay. Somebody can have that. Denise, or... All right, now we're down to the bills. Pay the bills for the last 2 weeks.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Second. Any discussion here in any of these bills? Right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Contracts and resolutions here. Next item is agreement for architectural consultant services for LLH Studio. This is basically a second opinion option for me on the courthouse, historical accuracy when we put this building together. I think I have confidence in the architects we have, but I like, just like going to a doctor, I would like the ability to have a second opinion on this or that, and this will give me that. Lori Hall contract for consultant services for $150 an hour. Motion to accept, please.
Judge, I'll make the motion for for conversation.
Second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Where is this company located at?
Here in Oldham County.
I was just looking at this, please contact this office at area code 801. That's what got me thinking.
Right. Lori Hall is a, architect that has moved here from a couple of years ago. I guess
You kept her.
got that number.
Okay.
And I've looked very closely at the work she's done. It's across the country. It's been excellent. And I wouldn't say she's exactly retired, but moved here because of acquaintances and so forth in the county. Has a lot of significant architectural experience in the historic restoration. So I felt like when I need a second opinion, I'm going to have somebody to go to. Magistrate Hounds.
Is this paid for by the AOC numbers or AOC money?
AOC will only pay for one attorney or one architect.
Do we have any idea what kind of expense we're looking at? I mean, I get the dollar per hour, but how many hours
Well, I couldn't say exactly. We might get $5,000 or $6,000 in this by the time it's all said and done, but, I don't know. I don't expect it to be a big number. Magistrate, Die.
Yeah, got it, thank you.
Right.
So we do this, and what's the end game here? You just did it for, I understand what
the
second
end-
opinion
end-
is.
As you probably have heard, the Project Development Board
Yes.
voted to pick up and move the building to the center of the courthouse, ahead 36 feet, over 15 or 20 feet to be right in the middle of the lot. The inside of that building is going to, be a functional building used as a courthouse building. There's going to be changes in there. And, but my goal would be to try to maintain in that particular building some degree of historical accuracy, recognition. I don't want, my goal would be not to walk through an old door into a, brand-new building that has no congruency with the outside. So, to try to have the touches. And a lot of this is subtle, but nevertheless, and I have confidence in our architects, but like I say, I have confidence in my doctor, but sometimes a second opinion on another idea or a different way of approaching things is worth having. We also have our Methodist church building next door that we're going to put a room addition onto. And then we also want to, once the election's over and Julie Barr quits using it, try to do some things inside that building. That's an 1830s building. Again, what can, I'm just looking for ideas that match the historical nature and character of these buildings as closely as we can to honor our heritage. And so this person, and I've looked at what she's done with other buildings that were totally destroyed and put together back, old buildings that really were nice, and I'm convinced that it would be a good person to have to be able to fall back on and say, what do you think of this idea or that idea? Is there an alternate approach that we might consider?
Second question, assuming that they come back and say that what our goal is to incorporate the old with the new, leave it old looking but functional as new, and somewhere along the way there's going to be a cost factor of doing that. Who's picking up that cost?
Well, that's going to be part of the AOC.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, we have money in the AOC budget to do things.
Right.
But my alternative here was to try to convince the architect we already have to bring this person on as a sub. Well, I'm looking for independent judgment. And, don't know exactly how much of it I'm going to need, but I just feel it's worthwhile to have.
All right, thank you.
All right. Magistrate Logsdon?
Judge, I mean, I don't question what I know you know what you're doing on this. You've been working on it for a long time. But should we put a limit on it, a certain dollar amount, $5,000? I mean, and then
Well,
they can come
we've already
back?
got a limit. We've got a budget line item for consultants in my budget. And so we've already got an outside limit for consultants as it is.
Well, I mean, it just says $150 an hour, per hour. It doesn't say payable monthly. I mean, how much, I mean,
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's, I
mean,
can't
we
accept
can put
that type of restriction. That's putting a saddle on me for a horse I've never ridden, so to speak.
well,
You
it's
know,
like,
I mean-
well, here's my credit card. When you're done, let me know how much you charged on it.
Well, all bills are going to be approved here, and we do have a line item that I think for, I don't know what it is, $30,000 in our budget for consultants. So
I just didn't know if you wanted to put a limit on it.
I wouldn't want to do that. I can't tell you, I mean, if I'm going to use this person 5 hours or 15 hours. I mean, I don't know. It's going to see what develops over a period of time,
Judge?
Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. I have been to every one of these meetings that we've had with the courthouse issue since July of 2019. I think I've missed 2 or 1.5. It's a confusing situation because most of the people here in the county think this is a county project because the board is chaired by the judge executive and it's going to be on county property. But I think one of the hardest things we've had getting others to understand is this is an administrative office of the courts project. And right now, we have no representation. We have no professional representation for the county. And I think this is a very wise move for us to make. The architects are not working for us. They're working for AOC. And all the advice is coming from the AOC. And we don't have anything to counter that. Maybe everything they're recommending is a super idea and be the greatest thing since pockets on a shirt. But it's kind of nice to have somebody who is a professional to tell us that, yeah, that's great. That's what we want. And I don't think we should hesitate on this. If the lady turns out to be overly expensive on the first billing, there's a red flag, and I think we can tighten up the reins. But I don't think there's any way that she could even estimate what she's going to get into because it's the unknown, and that's why we're hiring her.
Well, that's exactly right. I just want to make sure that the building we put up with the older courthouse that we're moved to save is as, historically congruent, the only word keeps coming to my mind, as it needs to be and can be. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be any more expensive. It just means that the historical detail will be taken into consideration here when we build this. So, go ahead, Magistrate Howns.
I understand we've got a budget amount, but we're going to approve this after the work's already been done. So it seems like that we're kind of putting ourselves in a position to where we don't know what our exposure is going to be. I mean, I understand what you're trying to do. I just think I'm kind of in the camp with Magistrate Logson. I think it needs to have some amount tied to it. And if it's more, then you come back and ask for more. I mean,
Well, what would you say that amount should be?
well, I'm in the $7,500 to $10,000 camp. I think that that's a lot of money even to pay a consultant. I don't know. I don't understand the whole scope of the project because I'm not intimately involved like you are, but I don't like the idea of open-endedness. I think that can cause issues with the court down the road with an invoice that pops up. And we've had that happen before. We've had invoice that's popped up and we're having discussion about it was too much money. Because there was work done with the church building next door.
Has she actually done something? I didn't understand your opening statement. You said we're paying for something after it's been done, Chris. I mean, did I miss
Right, we're going to get an invoice after the fact.
Well, that's fairly standard.
I understand that, but the person's already done the work, and now they're going to present an invoice. We have we're going to tell them, no, it's too expensive, we're not going to pay it after the fact. I mean, if there's a cap, if there's an amount not to exceed, then we know what our exposure is. Right now, we don't know what our exposure is going to be.
Measure Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. I just like having a second opinion from a doctor. I think this is a good idea also. I believe I made the motion that we do this, and I guess I'd like to amend my motion and say not to exceed $10,000.
I'm okay with that. I mean, this is not I don't think this is going to be a highly expensive, proposition to begin with.
I understand.
I'm just looking for somebody to show a design to and call them up on the phone or bring them in and say, does this all fit?
Right, and I'm not trying to, I think it makes sense to give it a parameter, and I seconded the motion, and I'll accept the amendment to the motion.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with that. It doesn't, I was just thinking in terms that we had a budget, so we weren't going to go over that ceiling one way or another, but.
Come on.
Huh? I don't think we ever have, but that's okay. I can tell, I'm fine with that.
With the new movement of the building that has come about in the last couple of weeks, has the AOC signed off okay on that? Or, because I've got to assume they've got some, in fact, I assume they're making all the decisions and listening to our input. Is that correct?
That's correct, and the decision was made by the Project Development Board to do that. At the last meeting, Judge Conrad, who retired yesterday, by the way, and we wish her well. I was going to save that for the end here. Mentioned that she had been in contact with Chief Justice Minton. Chief Justice Minton has received a significant number of emails from people in the community that wanted something to be done to save the older part of the courthouse. Okay. And did not issue an absolute statement, but suggested to Judge Conrad that it would be difficult to get a design approved that did not include the older part of the building. And the older part of the building can't sit where it is in the design scheme we've looked at without having a three-story addition behind it, which we felt the three-story addition didn't fit well in a two-story town. And so other people who have been, we'll call them the opposition, for lack of a better term, have come in with two different designs, but their design also called for a three-story building, only they wanted to put the first story in as a basement. And we've been extremely reluctant to get into digging a hole there, not knowing what you're going to find rock-wise, and the fact that when the 1995 addition was put on, there were issues with springs and water underneath there and so forth. So we just didn't want to. We've been in their design, which was not attractive in my mind to begin with. It just was crowding in something to get behind that building. And part, like I say, underneath it was actually much more footage involved than what we had in our building. And it required creating an underground parking lot. Well, you've been to a big city where you got to go to an underground parking lot. You know, well, you got to take a pretty sharp angle going down. You got to turn around cement pillars down in the basement. The elevators would have to work from the basement, which were more three-story elevators, more expensive than a two-story elevator. We just listened to it, but it just wasn't anything that excited anyone. So the alternative that we were left with was to find another location for the building. I tried to get it moved, or the idea percolating that could go over to the History Center lot, but the History Center Board of Directors did not feel up to the challenge of accepting the building. So that left us trying to relocate it on our own block or take it down. But as I said, the message from the Chief Justice was that it might be hard to get a design approved that didn't include that old part. So we voted to pick it up and move it. And that's what we intend to have done.
And the AOC is okay with that, is what you're telling me?
They're okay with it. I mean, we have to make it fit in our budget. But
Since you've been carrying the ball for most of this, and rightfully so, most of us haven't heard as much as we just heard in the last 5 minutes, so I thank you for telling us that.
That's okay. All of our meetings are open to viewing on Zoom, and it's kind of hard to watch a 2.5-hour meeting on Zoom, but it's not any easier to be in the meeting, actually. Yeah. Measure Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. I'm not known for blowing smoke in any direction for any particular person, but I think Judge Vogel deserves a lot of accolades from us and from the county for what he has done with his Project Development Board and for the criticism and the CRAP that he's had to put up with for so many different directions. I've never seen publicly that level of patience. A close second behind that would be the architect that's been hired to do this, because between the two of them, I think they've been criticized for everything except the plague and world hunger. And they've shown remarkable patience all the way through it. They've changed from here to there and here and back there. They buried the horse, dug it up, buried the horse, dug it up. And people out here opposed to this really don't live here, a lot of them. And they spent a lot of money hiring outside experts to come in and tell us what to do in our county. And the judge has very patiently sat there for hours listening to this. And I just wanted to go someplace and vomit and get it out of my system. But they've ended up back where they were probably almost a year ago, except for moving the old courthouse. So we don't know for sure that that's going to be successful. But I think some of us need to go back and pull up the videos on this and look at it and see just what transpired. This is not, I say again, a county initiative. The board is established by a state statute. And Judge Vogel, as the county judge executive, is, by statute, the chairman of that project development board. The senior circuit judge, by statute, is on that board, and that's Karen Conrad. The senior circuit judge, district judge, Jerry Crosby, by statute, is on there. A member of the legal community, chosen by the legal community, Barry Baxter, is on there. The circuit clerk, Steve Kalin, is on it, and Judge Vogel has only one person he could pick, a member of the public, and he chose Ann Brown because of her extensive involvement in county government. I think that was a very wise choice. But those 6 people are the ones who have gotten us to where we are, and I think we're at the right place, finally.
Well, we hope so. We hope to get try to get this thing moving forward. The COVID situation put a stall into it because the final hurdle committee that we have to get past has not been meeting because of COVID, but now they have sort of resumed with the Zoom meetings, and so we'll see. The temporary courthouse is being built down in Crestwood. It's supposed to be ready by the end of the year. At that point, we expect to start very soon thereafter taking down the jail and the 1995 addition of the courthouse, and then once those things are down, the effort will be made it'll be probably 2 to 3 month effort to lift the old courthouse off its foundation and move it to the southwest slightly so it comes out in the middle of the block there. It's a big undertaking, but I've been assured it can be done. And I have actually witnessed, Lori Hall sent me some video, I mentioned her here, sent me some video of a building in Utah, bigger than our building actually, that was picked up and moved. So it has been done. We want to be real safe about it, but what I'm concerned about is when we get it placed, and we want the end result to come out to be something we're all proud of, and I know it will be, but we want it to be, historically correct as it can be, and the integration and the relationship between the old and the new, just to have it work out so it comes out as well as it possibly can for us. So all of us can be proud of us. So anyway, I accept the motion to amend Magistrate Greenwell.
Yes.
Added, and was seconded, I believe, by Magistrate Hounds. Is there any further discussion on that? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you. Next item here has to do with our secondary road program. And normally, the Department of Transportation, Kentucky Cabinet comes through and talks about what they would like to do. And this year, because of the fact that the COVID problem, and in fact the governor has had people working every other day in Frankfurt, and it's just been in Louisville, it's just been some issue. So they ask if we would accept a resolution supporting what their recommendations are, and that's to perform maintenance on Kentucky 2854, that's Dawkins Road, from Bennett Lane to Highway 146 in LaGrange. And then also on Kentucky 1694, known as Sleepy Hollow Road, from the Jefferson County line to the bridge over Harrods Creek. And they're going to patch on state-maintained secondary roads and other locations of the county. So, is there a motion that we go ahead and agree to those requests? Any discussion? Manager Greenwell, you
No, Judge.
okay with that? So, all right, all in favor? We're going to, normally on these state contracts, they ask us to take a roll call vote, so let's do that now.
Judge,
Judge, I have a question.
I was trying to get a question in. Has anybody gone back and looked at what agreements were reached with the state when we approved Luther Luckett being located on Dawkins Road? Because it's the understanding of many people live on Dawkins Road, that the state had agreed to take over all maintenance on that road forever. And they haven't really spent a lot of time and effort in doing any maintenance out there.
Right, well, that obviously predates all of us, and, but I'd certainly be happy to have someone take a look at that.
Yeah, if they committed to doing that, I think they ought to be held to it.
See what they may have said back then.
It should be in the planning commission minutes.
When they built Luther Luckett. What year would that have been? Way back in the 80s, maybe, huh?
Could be, that'd be easy enough to find.
It may have actually been, in early 80s, I believe. Because I actually knew the person named Luther Luckett.
That road,
My father-in-law.
that road needs more than just casual attention.
Right.
It's got major issues in places.
Judge, I have a
We
question.
can try to do that. Jim Silliman, you maybe see what you can find, or in Jim Urban's shop. Okay, thank you. All right, Denise? Whoops, Stephanie?
Do you know about how much money is in this flex fund? The dollar amount?
About 270 is what comes to my mind, but I'm not positive.
Isn't it like a percentage, like 5 to 10% or something like that, I think? I may be thinking about the 3% disaster.
Well, they generally pay it out twice, don't they? Every 6 months?
We've only kept the flex funds one time that I know of for ourselves, and every other year we've turned them over to them because they've got just as many issues as we do, if not more. So they need to fix their roads, we need to fix ours.
And how are these two determined? I understand they've changed from year to year. I was just interested in how these.
They have a
specific-
pavement management system similar to ours, and they grade the roads and decide what needs it the worst.
Okay, thank you.
1981.
Pardon?
1981.
1981, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That's when it opened.
Pardon?
That's when it opened.
Yes, right.
I'm not sure when it was built, that's when it opened.
I could tell a story about that, just a brief story, that it is called the Luther Luckett Reformatory, but they had a name actually earlier than that. It was going to be called the Harold E. Black Reformatory, but my father-in-law refused to let him name it after. He said he didn't want a prison named after him. So anyway, all right, Denise, go ahead.
Magistrate Logston. Magistrate Dye.
Yes.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Yes.
Magistrate Hounds.
Yes.
Magistrate Greenwell.
Yes.
Magistrate Harrison. Magistrate Tice.
Yes?
Magistrate Likens.
Yes.
Judge Vogel.
Yes. All right, unanimous vote by the fiscal court. Thank you very much, and we'll send that back to KYTC. And we're down to our second public comment now.
Well, Judge, we got a bid award.
A bid award, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. So I wanted to explain real quickly to make sure everyone on the court is aware of the two different numbers that were in the bid for the county paving.
When discussing the paving package with the road committee originally, from a cost standpoint, we were looking at just patching a couple of the larger roads, basically, or primarily Bluegrass Parkway and Lock Lane, because the cost of the overlay is going to be significant. However, after having our road department, Mark Husband and Troy Woosley, actually mark the patches in place, we observed that it was going to result in, pardon the pun, more of a patchwork look. So while that's been done before, we wanted to also get a second cost to overlay the entire road and not have those patches apparent. So the first number that doesn't include Bluegrass Parkway being completely overlaid, and there's a portion, basically the second half of Lock Lane. The second number does include that. With that in mind, so in this case, the low bidder for the alternate one, which did not include those two overlays, was Louisville Paving. The low bidder for alternate two, which does include that, was a different bidder, which is Libs Paving. I think after speaking with the road committee, and I know after speaking with Ben Kimbler, our road superintendent, he agrees that we'd probably be better off to go ahead and overlay it, not have the joints, have a complete surface. It's going to be done in the future anyway. And really considering these were very competitive bids. I feel like every 6 or 7 months when we receive bids, it gets more and more competitive. It has. So I'd be remiss to turn that down right now. So what I'd like to do is recommend the alternate two in the amount of $1,120,720.82 be awarded to Libs Paving for the paving package that includes the overlay of Bluegrass Parkway from Tobacco Road to 42 and Lock Lane, approximately the second half.
Judge, I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you. Moved and seconded, we accept alternate bid 2 on the fall paving package with Libs Paving for $1 million.
It was $1,120,720.82.
Any discussion on that? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're at the second public comment. Those are anybody had come in earlier who hadn't spoken. Don't think so. We're down to a small number of people left in the fiscal court chamber. So we'll just go ahead and come to a conclusion on today's meeting. Magistrate Logston?
Judge, I just want to comment on your story about Nate. I had no idea he started talking. I gave communion down at Friendship Manor for 15 years until the COVID hit in February. And I always wondered what his story was, because I knew he had an injury, but he never was able to talk, and he was always sitting up in his wheelchair. It's just amazing that he was able to talk there at the end. I wish I could have got to know him better. So, because he was just, he always had that brain injury. But he was a fascinating guy. I read his story in Stess's this morning. Just wish I could have got to know him better.
Right. It was a miracle that, at the end, he was not carrying on a conversation like we would, but able to respond to questions and could understand the question.
He always loved U of L, and if you said anything about U of L, he always smiled. So you knew he knew what was going on, but he never could say anything, so.
Right, and
Anyway,
another
that's all I
interesting
have.
part of his story was that even though he couldn't speak, his roommate for a number of years was one of the best-known voices in the Louisville area, Bill Bailey from Wacky Radio was his roommate. And, if you've been around Louisville for a while, we all remember Bill Bailey,
The Duke.
The Duke of Paducah.
The Duke of Louisville.
The Duke of Louisville, yeah. All right, is that Magistrate Dye there somewhere? I can't see you, but I think you're still there. Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. Magistrate Hawkins?
As we move forward with the Schombeck Park project, I've gotten together with Jim Silliman and Jim Urban, and of course the Parks Committee, and we'd like to start engaging the other magistrates as to, and then in turn, in not too long after that, the public with things that the public in Oldham County would like to see in a parks system. And one portion is going to be specifically Schomback Park. And the other portion is going to be the park system as a whole. What things would the public like to see, and what would attract our citizens to the parks? So just look out for that coming up in the future, and me to reach out to ask the other magistrates their opinion on that. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Magistrate Hounds.
Yes, thanks, Judge. Just a couple of things. One is I did attend the Gold Star Family Memorial Service that they had, or plaque presentation at the Veterans Memorial Park. It was very well done. Congratulations to those folks that put that together and got that monument set up. If you get an opportunity, the Veterans Memorial Park is on the South Oldham High School campus, right as you turn in by the sign. I believe that's Dragon Drive. It's right there on the left-hand side, and if you get a moment, you ought to go in there and take a walk around. The other thing is that we're approaching the another anniversary of 9/11. Hopefully, because of COVID, we won't forget that date, and people will take some time to observe and remember what happened on 9/11, and so that we don't forget that. Second thing is that school's back in session for some people, and there's a lot of people that are still walking, and please be careful of the people that are walking down the street or running down the street. In the past couple weeks, it seems like I've seen a lot of people swerve. If you're walking, it's best to walk towards traffic so you can see the cars that are coming at you. The situation that I was talking about, the biggest one, the most prevalent one, the person was walking with their back to traffic, and when the cars came at him and one car blew his horn, the person almost jumped into the traffic, which could have been very bad. Last thing is that I know all the other magistrates got the same email about people asking about internet service in the county. I want to reiterate this point. There is an initiative that's going on. The court has hired Lit Communities. Very soon there will be some fruits of the labor, I guess, go out with a survey and asking people to fill out the survey. It's not anywhere near on the level as the census, as Magistrate Harrison has talked about in the past, but it's pretty high. We need to get people to fill this document out, fill this survey out, so we can get accurate data back, so that we can make the right decisions to help promote and get internet services, high-speed internet services throughout the county. I would say that probably internet and ditch cleaning out and speeders are probably the three top things that I hear about on a regular basis. And trust me, we're working on all three of those and more. But if we have to get the feedback back from people when we send this survey out. It's very, very important that we get feedback back. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Greenwell.
Thank you, Judge. I was not able to make it to the Veterans Memorial Park celebration due to a previous commitment, but I was able to walk through it the other day, and I agree with Magistrate Hounds that it is worth going to see, and it's just very detailed and very historical, and so I think it'd be worth everybody's time to go down there and see it.
It is really nice, and getting nicer all the time.
It is.
It's continuing to increase, and we have, as a court, supported that on a couple of different occasions, and I hope we will again in the future. Magistrate Harrison.
Thank you, Judge. To follow up on what Magistrate Hound said, Patriot Day is September 11th. I hope we do not ever forget that. The entire month of September is also National Service Dog Month, which is kind of important to some people, mainly in the military. And another reminder, the census questionnaire is still out there. They don't have everybody's responses yet. We're trying to set up one or two places in the county where people can come in confidentially, and there may be people not from this country originally, they may be foreign-born, have trouble with the English part of it, and we will have help available to them and be confidential. As far as the memorial park, I'd not thought about bringing this up, but regrettably, in December of 1967, I had the task of writing a letter to the parents of a young man who served with me and been killed that week, and that brought me into the Gold Star Family Arena, and it's just difficult for me to go to someplace like the Memorial Park when that's what they're honoring that day. It's too close to me. Thank you.
All right, Magistrate Tice.
Yes, as I think about this year, it's been a little bit dysfunctional and it's difficult. I hope that we all have patience and find our way through the rest of it, and everybody be careful out there. Thank you.
Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. I really wasn't going to speak on this today, but the Building and Maintenance Committee did meet last week to interview 3 architectural firms concerning the new animal control shelter. We unanimously agreed that a company called Architectural Investments was our best firm based on their experience and the daily maintenance of an animal control shelter. But talking to all 3 of these architectural firms, we heard figures that kind of set us back in our chair, because we had appropriated $500,000 for this animal control building or animal shelter building, and all 3 of the architects, based on square footages, which is like asking how much a car cost. You know, what kind of car? You know, do you want a Volkswagen? Do you want a BMW? But they all came back with a price tag of $3 to $4 million. So it's going to take a pretty good budget amendment to finance this new animal shelter building. So we just kind of, we're going to take that up 2 weeks at our regular Building and Maintenance Committee meeting. But to go much further, we're going to have a pretty, what I call a major budget amendment, because there's no reason to get a set of plans if we're really not going to build it, or we're going to have to scale back the building. So just wanted to report our findings. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Dye.
Yeah, I heard one magistrate talk about the census. There are enumerators out in the community. I saw a couple the other day. I did see that where Kentucky is about 2% better than the national average on returning what's up to this point. But I looked at the map on Kentucky itself, and Oldham County was over 90%, far and above even our adjoining counties. So we set the pace, we're setting the pace in Kentucky.
Right, we appreciate everybody's cooperation in the county. We're actually, I was told last week that we were like number 7 out of the entire country of 3,200 counties, something like that. So, it's great news. So we want everybody to participate. I've seen a couple of comments on Facebook about people being tired of having someone knock at their door when they'd already filled out the census, asking them to do it again, or not knowing they had already done it. But be patient with all of the enumerators. They're trying to do their job. It's in the interest of our county and community to get everybody counted. We're pushing hard for that. So give them a break, as they say. I would like to offer our best wishes as a fiscal court to Judge Karen Conrad. Judge Conrad retired as of yesterday was her last day, so maybe today's her first day as a retiree. We thank her for all the service that she's provided Oldham County through the years. Being a circuit judge is not easy, because everybody that shows up in your court, for the most part, you're settling conflict between points of view, and there's always what appears to be a winner and a loser. It's hard to come out with a circumstance that everybody's happy with, but appreciate everything she's done, and wish her the very best in the future, and hope that all the things that she and her husband Pete look forward to in their retirement come their way. So thank you, Judge Karen Conrad. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I guess I won't make my comment about the census.
Long time to sit.